Hey guys, welcome back to another night of What's for Dinner. Tonight I'm just making it really simple, and we're just having nachos. So I have 1 pound of ground venison cooking up on the stove, and I don't even have any taco seasoning. So all I'm going to use is some organic medium salsa from BJ's, and I'm going to use a little bit of sriracha to make it a little bit spicy. And that's about it for the meat. So I'll go ahead and put those in. And I don't measure, I just pour it in. What, maybe half cup. And then a couple of squirts of the sriracha. That's probably like a tablespoon there. And just go ahead, cook all of that. And then I'll just layer the the tortilla chips with the beef. I got some canned beans. We have some Oaxaca cheese that I'll use. And then we could put more salsa on the top. Unfortunately, I don't have any avocados. That would have been really good. And I'll top that with some sour cream. And I'm going to bake it all in that dish, of course, not the extra toppings. But I'll show you what it looks like when it goes in the oven, and then I'll insert a picture of when it comes out. So here's what it looks like before it goes in. I did 1 layer of chips, beef, beans, and I mix a little corn in with the beans. And it's just a can of I think they were pinto beans I got from Trader Joe's. Refried pinto beans, I believe. And then I'm just putting some of that cheese on here. And I'm going to put it in a 350 oven. And we'll see how long it takes. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I'll probably insert a picture of it. Alright, for another What's for Dinner, we're going to be doing barbecue chicken thighs in the Instant Pot. I have a package of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Mine are still pretty much frozen. I forgot to take them out this morning. So, I am just going to put them in frozen. And I'm going to add 5 minutes of cooking time because they're frozen. And then I'm also going to, I'm going to cook it for a total of 15 minutes. And then I'm going to do a natural release on it for 10. So if you're cooking your chicken thawed out, unfrozen, you'll do it for 10 minutes and a natural release for 10. All right, I'll be right back. I just want to wash my hands real quick. Okay, so to that I'm going to add 1 onion, and I just thinly sliced it. You don't have to put the onion, but we really like it. Now I have seen other recipes where they say you can, well, it's probably a lot of onion, but I'm not going to put half in the refrigerator, so I'm going to cook all of it. I have seen recipes where they say you can cook it the same amount of time, whether it's frozen or not. I'm going to add some garlic. In my experience, that hasn't worked for me. If it's worked for you, let me know down below. I suppose if everyone cooks it for 15 minutes, that would work. But anyway, some onion salt. You can use salt and pepper to taste. Let's see, I think that's all I'm going to put. And then we need 1 cup of water. And I'm making sure that I'm only using 1 cup. I measured it because we're going to have to thicken the sauce after, and I don't want to thicken too much. Now, I'm using KC Masterpiece because that's my favorite barbecue sauce, and I probably got about a half cup, and I'm just going to cook it with that, and if we need to add more later, we can. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and make sure my seal is in properly. Put this down, hit manual, put it on for 15 minutes, high pressure, and then I'll do a natural release for 10, and if there's any more time after that, I'll do a quick release, and then I'll show you guys if I have to thicken the sauce and everything. Okay, so that chicken is nice and tender, so I am going to just pull the chicken out, and I'm going to put it on saute high because I want to thicken this up a little bit. You could shred this chicken if you want. I like to leave it in whole pieces. Alright, so I'm going to get a slurry ready. So I'm going to use a couple tablespoons of water, a couple tablespoons of cornstarch, and once this starts boiling, we'll thicken this up. Alright, so that's come up to a boil. I'll just drop the slurry in there. And once it comes back up to the boil, you'll see how quick it thickens up. And then I just plate that with the chicken. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get our plate ready, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's what it looks like. The chicken with some of that barbecue gravy on it, a couple of roasted potatoes, and some roasted broccoli and cauliflower. That's what's for dinner. Hey everyone, tonight is Sunday dinner, so I'm going to be making some meatball sliders. I got party-sized mini meatballs from Trader Joe's. I have some Trader Joe's marinara sauce, and I'm just going to pour a can of that over the meatballs that are frozen just to warm them up a little bit. I also am going to put some spinach in this, but you can omit that if you want. On the baking sheet, I did put a piece of parchment paper. I wouldn't do that again as it kind of came apart when I was cutting the sliders, so I probably just wouldn't do that. Maybe you can use aluminum foil or nothing at all. Oh, I also, I cooked down that spinach. I didn't add any salt or anything or any seasoning to the spinach. You can if you want to, but everything else has so much flavor in it, I didn't feel that to be necessary. So I have these sweet Hawaiian rolls. I had mine in the freezer, but of course you can just use regular ones. And of course they didn't fit in the pan properly, so I had to cut them. I had to move one layer. There was an extra roll. I didn't know where to put it. I mean, really, I should have just left that extra roll out, but we don't really eat bread. So I just wanted to make sandwiches out of all of them. So anyways, I just shoved it in there. So I have some shredded Swiss and Gruyere, also from Trader Joe's, and I'm just going to layer that on the bottom. And that'll help stick everything together. Make sure I got that little lonely roll over there. And then, like I said, I had sauteed that spinach. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that on the bottom. You could put it on the top, the bottom, whatever you want. And I just evenly spaced that out. Oh, and that was a bag from Trader Joe's. So I believe it's 12 ounces or 8 ounces maybe. It's probably 8 ounces. Because it's just a regular bag of it, not the big tub. But yeah, like I said, I just, hit the camera. So I just sauteed that really quick and just a little bit of olive oil. No seasonings, nothing, but of course you can season if you'd like to. And I just spread that to make it nice and even across the whole sandwich. Or sandwiches. And then I'm just going to take the meatballs. Now, there is a lot of sauce in here, but I wanted some extra sauce for the side because I know my family likes to have a lot of sauce, but me and my husband, we don't love a ton of sauce on ours. So I have a slotted spoon, and I'm just pulling out all the meatballs, and I believe that was a 20 ounce bag of meatballs. So there's definitely a lot of meatballs for this. It's a very hearty sandwich or slider, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, they're mini meatballs. You can make sure there's one per sandwich or two, whatever you want to do. Or you could just put them on like that, because when you cut the sandwiches after they're done cooking, if there's a meatball overlapping, it'll get cut. So it's no big deal. It's super easy. And I do save the rest of that sauce as well. And then I'm going to put some more of that shredded Swiss and Gruyere on the top. That's a really good blend of cheese. It's $4.99, so it's a little bit more expensive than your typical mozzarella. But I find it to be really good. Swiss cheese, I think, is really good when it's cooked or melted. I don't care for it raw, but it is really good when it's cooked. So I'm going to go ahead, place the top of the bread on there. And I will say, because I did freeze these, it made the bottoms just a tiny bit soggy. So it stuck to the paper just a little bit. So here I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I melted, and I'm putting in about 2 teaspoons of everything but the bagel seasoning, and it's going all over the place, not just in that bowl. You can see it all over my stove. And then I just pour this over the top. You could add more garlic to this. That would be really good to make a much more garlicky flavor. And I do not wash that container out, and I just put the sauce in it because it tastes good, so why not? Now, here's the biggest mistake. So I cooked this at 350 for 25 minutes. Make sure you cover yours from the beginning. That's what I forgot to do, and that's why they burnt a little bit. And I just served mine with some tater tots and some extra sauce for dipping. These came out really good. Unfortunately, like I said, I did burn them a little bit. They were super tasty, though. See you tomorrow. Hey everyone, welcome back to another What's for Dinner. Tonight I just have some asparagus I put out on the sheet pan. I'm cutting up some purple Brussels sprouts. I washed them over here in the sink. Then I cut the ends off of them, and I cut them into 4s. Just like that. And I'll drizzle some olive oil and some seasoning on those. I'm going to cook it in a 470 or 400 or 450 degree oven. Right now I have some potatoes in there. I just cut them not too big, and I'm roasting those. And that's at the 450. That's what it's at. Sometimes on my stove here I have a Convect Bake. It's preheating still. If I put it to 475, it'll put Convect Bake or roast at 450. So sometimes I forget what I actually put it at, but I'm pretty sure I put it at 450, so it's probably going to put it to 425. We'll see when it's done. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to roast these up. And then I want the potatoes to get a head start because these won't take as long, and I'm putting some pork chops in there. Those won't take they won't take a long time, but the potatoes, I'm going to put some Parmesan and garlic butter on them to finish roasting the last 10 minutes. So once I get all this cut up, I'll show you what everything looks like. So I have 2 tablespoons of butter here and a tablespoon of granulated garlic, and I melted that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in the potatoes I had roasting in the oven for about 10 minutes. So they're obviously not cooked all the way through, but they are softened. If you put the butter on them right from the beginning and put that in the oven, it'll it could burn. So I don't want to do that. That's why I take it out and just mix all of that around. It's not the prettiest, but it will be after. And to that, I'm going to add some, I like the Trader Joe's onion salt because it has the chives in there, and that green looks really pretty on this. I really like that. So, put that. You could put scallions or regular chives too if you'd like. Now to this I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I usually like the shredded kind for these potatoes better. And that's about a little more than a quarter cup. So that's about a quarter cup that I actually have on there now. I like it better because it, I don't know, it just sticks out more. I just tend to like that better. But anyways, this shredded kind, the grated kind, is just as good. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back on the pan. And I'll show you what it looks like before I put it in the oven. Okay, I just had to turn y'all around. And here I just have some shake and bake pork chops. I had done a chicken wing video for the air fryer, and I just have this left over, so I wanted to use that. And then I'll go ahead and put this in a 450, 425 oven for another maybe 10-15 minutes. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's plated. Alright guys, tonight we're going to be having New York strip steaks, and then I'm going to be cutting some zucchini and some yellow squash into big wedges. And in this bag I have half Parmesan cheese, half breadcrumbs, and a bunch of seasonings. I used some of the Mushroom and Company, some of the onion salt, and some of the everything but the bagel seasoning. And I mixed that, like I said, it's probably 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese to probably a half cup breadcrumbs. That's all the breadcrumbs I had. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut these into wedges, get them in some egg, put them in here, putting them on the baking sheet. My oven's preheating. I'm going to cook it at about 475 or so, and then I'll show you what they look like as I'm doing them. Okay, so I have these cut up, and they're just in wedges like that. I have them in an egg bath, which is just 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of half and half. You can use water. And then you can use tongs. My hands are clean, my nails are clean. You can use whatever you want. Just get off the excess, and then you can shake them. Just like that. I've sprayed this. I have parchment paper down. I sprayed that, and then I will lay them however they fall on the back, on the side. We'll turn them over once anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these done, and then like I said, I'm going to get them in a 475 oven, and I'll let you know when we come back how long they took. Alright guys, so here's what the zucchini looks like. It's all nice and crispy. I turned the oven off. I'm going to leave the door just open a little bit. My potatoes are all done, so I have my steak cooking. That's what we're going to make with it, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. I'm going to be cooking the steaks in my air fryer, so I'm going to do a little experiment to see if it's worth it or not, if I would do it again. That'll be a separate video, which I'll link down below. So I'll go ahead and insert a picture of what our dinner looks like when it's plated up.